Hi everyone, checking in, seeing how everyone's doing today. Just wanted to follow up a little bit on some of the stuff I've been sharing out there, and I've noticed a bit of a shift in energy today. An interesting thing to note is that when we have big influxes or big waves of energy that come in, they can affect some of us differently than they can affect others. Sometimes you might find yourself being really taken out by the energy, really wiped out and needing to kind of really go in, be still, cocoon, be gentle. And then on the flip side, you can actually ride the wave of the big energies that come through, kind of like a pro surfer, and feel quite elevated with them. And that can change from day to day and time to time. So it's always loving what arises and accepting what is and knowing that all of it is perfect, but understanding that these big waves of energy do come through, and whether they are calling you to go into a sense of cocooning and going within and doing some inner work, or whether they are giving you a sense of inspiration, elevation, and perhaps some juju to get some creative stuff done, then either is awesome, and it's up to you to really ride those waves as best you can, but also to give yourself permission to be whatever it is you need to be. But what I wanted to just share a little bit about today is empaths, and how in these times, anytime actually, but particularly in the times that we're in, how challenging it can be for people that are empaths, which if you're watching this to some degree, for sure you will be, to sometimes navigate when there's big energies going on around us, especially collectively. So the beautiful thing about being an empath is our sensitivity is actually our superpower. It's just that a lot of us don't understand or don't know how to work with the sensitivity, and so sometimes it can take us out. Now, why are there so many empaths walking around on the planet at the moment? Well, this is the way that the planet's really going to wake up collectively and remember who they really are, because if we're empaths, which most of us have, the more recent generations have definitely come in, and beyond, sorry, that's a sweeping generalization, and beyond. It's just that sometimes in our parents' generations and beyond that, they had this program that was very anchored into their being, that they just had to get on with it no matter how they were feeling, no matter what was going on around them. They just had to get on with it. And so many people of that generation, probably of well, my mother's generation and above, they really came in, baby boomers. They really put up and shut up, and they got on with a lot of stuff. And we see a lot of these beautiful people that are later in life, even, that are really being called to remembering that there is another way. And sometimes that dismantling can be really hard. I get a lot of beautiful people coming to work with me in ceremony that go through that process later on in life. And it's such a beautiful flowering, and at the same time there's a lot to undo. Anyway, I'm digressing a little bit, coming back to empaths and how we deal with that. So how do you know if you're an empath? Okay, first of all, sometimes you will be feeling things that you're not even sure are yours. Now, we have to remember that most of what we are feeling is coming from something that is happening outside of ourselves. This is really interesting. And the old map of the world tells us that we think something first and then we feel something later, so that the body has a response to the mind. But it's actually the other way around. We want to learn ways of teaching and showing our body how to feel differently, so that then that informs our thoughts. So if you think about it, if you wake up one morning and you're feeling really anxious or really heavy, perhaps a little bit off, and you don't even really know why. I mean, obviously we're in really intense times at the moment, but perhaps what you're feeling doesn't actually belong to you at all, right? But because the feeling is in your body, you lie there, you're feeling this way, you go into the ickiness, into the, the heaviness, into the anxiety, whatever it is you're feeling, and then you start searching in your mind for a reason, or for a story as that you can match that feeling to, as to why you're feeling that way, and all of a sudden, bang, you make it your own, right? So there's a discernment that needs to happen, a practice that needs to come in place, where you build an awareness of what really is belonging to you, what's arising from within you, and what perhaps is something that is coming from the outside. Now, the interesting thing is this process is called transmutation. In the Andes, there is a process called hucha chiqui, which is basically the digesting of energy. So there are two kinds of energy. It's very simple. There's no good or bad. There's no right or wrong. There's just heavy, and we refer to heavy energy as hucha. And then there is light energy, which is the highest frequencies. It's like a light, empowering, uplifting energy, and this one is called Sami. So Sami carries the highest frequencies of light, and Hucha carries more of a denser frequency. When we're carrying too much Hucha in our luminous fields, so our luminous field is this bubble of energy that each one of us has that goes about 3 feet around our body. If you can imagine, we have like a funnel of energy that comes up from the earth. It's kind of like a straw. It comes out through the crown of the head, and then it creates what's called a torus, right? So a torus is like a donut, and the field of energy comes out through the top of the head. It goes back down into the earth about 2 or 3 feet, and it comes up, and this luminous field is always circulating. Now, when that luminous field is really clear, and the frequency is really clear, and the light is really luminous, shall we say, then we feel awesome. We feel like we're really on, we feel alive, we feel aligned, we feel passionate, we feel like we've got a lot of energy. When we have accumulated heavy energy in that luminous energy bubble that we call hucha, that's either been generated from thoughts, feelings, emotions, or most often when you're an empath, taken on as yours from something or someone else, from the situation that's happening around you, then we start to feel stagnant, we start to feel heavy, we feel lackluster, we feel, all of those things, anxious, fear, all of those things, right? So if we can look at it rather than getting caught and trapped in the feeling and in the emotion, and just have the understanding of, oh wow, okay, so I've accumulated some heavy energy in my energy bubble. I've taken that energy on, wherever it's come from, it's okay. And you can go through a process of actually transforming that energy and using that energy just like it was fuel. So this energy will do one of two things. It will either take you out, right? If you allow it, it will take you out and it will knock you out. Or you can use that energy for transformation. Now, taking you out means that you give the energy a story. You make it a woe is me. You become a victim. You allow yourself to become a victim to the energy. Oh my God, I feel so crap. This is shit. Why am I feeling like this? Why does this always happen to me? This isn't fair. All of that stuff, you're coming from the perspective of the victim. Now, if you can make a flip, right? And it's two sides of the same coin. On one side of the coin is the victim. On the other side of the coin is the creator. That is the empowered. The victim is like the shadow, and the creator is like the gift or the city, right? On the other side of that coin lies the creator. Now, the creator is experiencing exactly the same energy, exactly the same circumstances. It's receiving exactly the same feeling, but the creator knows that there is a bigger purpose, that there's a bigger picture to why we're receiving that feeling or that energy or that circumstance or that experience at that time. The creator knows that before it came to this earth plane, every single thing that we experience, including traversing this virus, including being in this self-distancing or isolation or quarantine, whatever you want to call it, every single thing in your life, every single thing before you got here, you chose. And we'll talk more about that in another video. But when you really get to understand that you are the creator of your experience and not the victim to it, then you can start to see that on some level you have chosen to experience this. So what can you do with it? What gift is there for you in this, right? So if the heavy energy comes, first of all, you just acknowledge that it's there. You acknowledge that it's there, and then the way to heal this energy is this gift that all humans have. We have been given this remarkable, miraculous gift of feeling, right? The healing is in our feeling. If we actually allow ourselves and give ourselves the permission to feel fully and completely whatever is arising without trying to push it away, without trying to avoid it. They call this shadow work, but shadow work doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be deep and dark. It's literally remembering who you really are, which is a creator of your circumstance, a creator of your reality, and you are a warrior of light. Now, I've said this before, you don't go into a room and turn on a dark switch, do you? You're a beacon of light. So if you can go into these shadowy areas, into these heavy feelings with your full presence and your full awareness, and be willing to allow yourself to feel the sensation, to feel the depths of it. So when you think about it, a feeling of sadness has a particular quality. It has a particular vibration, and it sits somewhere in your body. It might be in the solar plexus. It might be in the heart. Wherever it is, if you can take your attention and take your energy and your awareness right into that feeling and get super curious about it, go into the edges of it, feel how it sits, feel the heat, feel the cold, feel the constriction, whatever it might be, and fully and completely just be with that feeling. Accept that that feeling is there. Allow yourself to experience that feeling fully. And then if the mind wants to attach a story to that feeling, like, oh, it's because such and such did this, or it's because I'm in this isolation, or it's because just gently thank the mind and say, thank you, mind, but right now I'm just in the feeling. And allow yourself to feel the depths of it. If the tears come, let the tears come. All of these emotions, if you go into it in this way and you allow the emotion that arises from the feeling. Emotion is different to feeling, by the way. Feeling is sensation. Emotion generally happens when we attach a thought to it, and then it brings forward like a sadness, or it brings forward something that needs to be released. And if you allow that emotion to have energy in motion is emotion, and allow it to move through the body in whatever way it wants, whether it might be yelling and screaming and banging a pillow if it's anger, or if it's deep sadness, then maybe the tears come, and allow the energy to be liberated, then you will be able to transform and transmute that feeling very, very quickly. And you know what? It doesn't even matter if it's yours or someone else's. Even if it doesn't belong to you, you as the creator and the master that you are, still put your hand up to come here and help transform it. So if you're transforming, if you're an empath and you feel yourself feeling these feelings, and you do this work consciously, you must do it consciously. Stay really present, really aware with it. And if you transform these feelings in the body consciously, then guess what? You are giving such great service. You are doing such a great service and giving such great aini, because you're transforming that on behalf of somebody who possibly can't. So the trick is to feel the feeling deeply and fully. Do your best to, when the mind wants to attach a story to it, thank you, mind, I don't need to hear stories right now. I'm just in the feeling. I'm just in the feeling. Honor the feeling. And I promise you that if you do that, you'll experience like a pop. It's almost like a popping sensation, and you will move through the feeling very quickly. While you're doing this, remember to breathe, okay? So remember to breathe in and out very deeply the whole time. It really helps me to imagine breathing in light. So breathing in light from that pokpo into all of those areas where you feel stuck. As you're moving through the process of this feeling, like scan the body and scan the energetic body as well. Have a look around you and see if you can like tune in to little areas that might be shadowy or stuck, or where the energy's just not moving, and use your breath while you're feeling. Use your breath and direct the breath there, direct the energy there. And all of this work, don't forget, is generated here in what we call the Cosco. This is the solar plexus area. In the Andean tradition, in this lineage, we call it the Cosco. The Cosco means the center of centers in the Quechua language. It's why the city of Cusco is called Cusco, because it was the center of the Incan Empire. So all of this energy is all transformed and transmuted and digested, literally, just like we digest food. It's all digested in this area, okay? So the key to all of this is the breath and to relaxing the solar plexus. Let the belly go like a big Buddha belly, right? So really, I've said this before, 5 deep breaths, in for a count of 5, out for a count of 5, with a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly. Let everything relax and open, and then just do that process of going into the body and seeing if you can see where you feel the sensation that matches the feeling. If you work with the sensation and you work with the feeling and you allow any emotion that arises to pass quickly without attaching a story, I promise you that it will move through really quickly. And not only that, you won't have to do it again. That's a layer of crap. You don't even need to know where it come from. It doesn't matter if it's from a past life or this life or childhood or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Don't even give it that story. Too many of us are like, oh my God, when I was in a past life, I was like da-da-da. So what? Who cares? There's no such thing as past lives, by the way. Well, that's not true. I'll take that. It's not that there's no such thing. It's that all lifetimes are happening simultaneously. They're just in another paradigm. So if you work on what's happening here and now, you automatically shift the timeline for everything that's happened before and everything that's happening in the future. Right? So as humans, as the multidimensional beings that we are, we're really the only ones that can time travel. And time travel means, this is a whole other video, and I'm not going to get into it now because I'm already at 15 minutes, but we are able to heal timelines from this present moment, right here and right now. I hope that was helpful. I went on a little bit more than I thought I was going to, but I just really wanted to, because I know a lot of people are struggling with the energies coming up. And we'll talk more about empathy and what that means in other videos, but I just wanted to give you some tools for transformation, because this is a big one and you can do it. You're a master of transformation. This is what you came here to do. It's just that you've forgotten. And so what you do is, instead of like transforming the energy, we take the energy and we make it ours. We make it our story. We make it our thing, and we hold on to it like this tightly, 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 until someone comes along and pushes the button, and then whatever hasn't been transformed, whatever hasn't been whatever emotions have not been processed, when they push that button, then we spew it onto somebody else, we project it onto somebody else, hoping that that's going to give us a sense of relief and healing. And how many times have we had that done to us in our lives, right from when we were little children? Our beautiful parents who never had the opportunity to transform this stuff or to learn how to do this, they held it, you know, all of these emotions that didn't get processed, and then along we come and push that button, they spew it onto us, whether it be through whatever it is, from deep traumas through to small things, and then we take that story on as our own, and we carry it. Now is the time that stuff is going to be arising from within us, and at the same time we're feeling stuff coming from the outside that also doesn't belong to us. But like I said, it doesn't matter. It is all energy. And if we can get used to working on the level of energy rather than working on the level of story, then we've nailed it. So let's practice and use this time to do that. Be gentle with yourselves, love what arises, and thanks for listening. I hope this helps. All my love to you. Bye, sweethearts.